Haluhu. El Shaddai Olea Motenu, Abiano Abias Kalabiako, Takwados, Weshmega Quados, Barushmega Lolamae, Washam Bene, El Shabbat, So El Shabbat, the Dono Tambari Ola, Bene, Israel, Otilora, Kisha Shaka Mimasa, El Shaddai, Shamaim, where Ta'alis, Barushi, Shabbat, Nafash, Barushmega, Barukemeneka, Barutunateka, Barukushateka. El Shaddai Malek, El Shaddai Malak, El Shaddai Imlok Lolam Wahe, Baruch Shem Kabod Makuto Lolam Wahe, Baruch Kabod Lohim Kumo Malek Elyon, Aluhu Lolam Wahe. First of all, I'd like to give all honor and praise to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the great mighty revered God, the Most High God, who bestows loving kindness, possesses all things, who remembers the pious deeds of the patriarchs, the Most High, slow of anger, great in kindness, forgiving iniquity and transgressions, but who by no means clear the guilty, visiting iniquities of fathers upon children to the third and fourth generation. The Most High's work is perfect for all ways of justice, a God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and right and seed. May be seated. Giving due respect and honor to a head in Israel, my father, chief of liaison, to the chief men, princes, brothers and sisters, mother in Israel. I say unto you the tongue of my forefathers, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom Lakai.
We got to learn to have a heart for what God have a heart for. When you have a heart for what God have a heart for, now you have a heart.
That's right.
Now you have a heart.
We ain't the judge.
We can't judge and categorize and say, well, this person has a heart, but he don't have a heart or she don't have a heart for what God have a heart.
Right.
So when you don't have a heart for what God don't have, for what God have a heart for, you don't have a heart.
That's right.
What teaches us to have a heart? How do you purchase a heart? You purchase a heart by reading the book. You purchase a heart by reading the book. God tells you what to accept and what not to accept.
Walk in his ways.
Huh?
That's
God
right.
tells you what to accept
That's right.
and what not to accept.
That's right.
God, by reading this book, it teaches us to walk in the ways of God.
Right.
Okay? Because we serve a jealous God.
That's right.
That's one of God's name, El Quana, the jealous one.
Yeah.
Right? Now, why is God jealous? Huh? God demands from those who he loved and redeemed utter and absolute loyalty. I said utter and absolute loyalty. Why? Because God did something for us.
Wow.
So in return, we have to recompense. We owe God. So we have to repay God by following after his laws, commandments, and statutes. By taking heed and fulfilling the laws, commandments, and statutes. Now, being that God demands from us absolute loyalty, right? I said, and stern actions against them if you betray him.
Oh my goodness.
I said, stern actions if you betray God.
Those that betray him.
How do you betray God? By violating his laws. By violating his laws, commandments, and statutes. How do you betray God? By sinning presumptuously. See, we have to get to a point in life to where when we violate the commandments of God, when we violate these laws, you have to feel a way. There's a feeling, there's a feeling called guilt. It has to be stirred up within you. When you have that feeling called guilt, now you will stop violating. Now you will feel sorry for the things that you have committed or have done against God. You got to have guilt. You got to have that conscience. And that conscience is when you are able to make amends.
Oh my goodness.
You are able to make amends
For what you did wrong.
for what you did wrong. For what you did wrong.
See, a teacher is not going to come up here and tell you fairy tales.
That's right. Pat you on the
A
back.
teacher is not going to come up here and tell you lies.
That's right.
A teacher is not going to come up here and tell you things you want to hear.
To comfort you.
A teacher makes you know the disagreeable consequences of your actions against God.
To correct you.
Huh?
That's right.
A teacher instructs by precepts, examples, or experience.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Huh?
goodness.
The precepts is a general rule to regulate behavior and thoughts.
Come on, talk about it.
I said these laws regulate your behavior and your thinking pattern.
That's right.
This book teaches you how to walk before God,
That's gonna
and it
determine.
teaches you how to think.
That's going to determine your walk. That's right. Oh my goodness.
Because the way we think, it always shows in our actions.
That's right. That's right.
I
Say
said the
it.
way we think,
Say it.
it's going to show in your actions. The way we think is going to show in your speech.
Come on, come on.
How you treat
It's
people.
going to show in how you talk.
Come on.
It's going to show how you treat people.
Yeah,
Oh
come
my
on.
goodness.
This is why I was having a conversation and I told the person that I had a conversation with, I said, you shouldn't say that.
Oh my goodness.
Certain things we shouldn't voice out of our mouth.
Right.
Why? Because it's against the standards that God set.
That's right.
When we say things and voice things that's not in the book, you start to act upon these things that we say out of our mouth
That's right.
that doesn't correlate with what we read
Subconsciously.
subconsciously.
Talk about it.
Let's go into Deuteronomy chapter 4. You got it?
Deuteronomy chapter 4. Now therefore, hearken, O Israel.
Now therefore hearken, O Israel, because when you hearken and do.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Okay.
Hand in
When
hand.
God say, it goes hand in hand.
But not just to hear.
Are we really hearkening to God?
Yeah. Hearing is one thing.
Are we really hearkening to God? Are we really hearing these laws? Because when you hearken and you hear these laws, you hearken
And
with the intentions to fulfill.
that's right.
Come on.
Action.
I said you hearken with the intentions to fulfill what you heard.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Now therefore, hearken, O Israel,
Uh-huh.
unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you,
Uh-huh.
for to do them,
For to do them.
that ye may live.
That
and go
ye
in.
may live. Huh? We living already.
Who you talking to?
We're alive already.
Yeah. What life is?
So what life is God? What is he talking about?
That you may live.
Huh?
That's a good question.
Huh? Go ahead.
Forever.
That ye may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers giveth you.
Uh-huh.
You shall not add unto the word which I command you,
Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you.
neither shall you diminish aught from it.
When you add on and you take away, you are not doing these laws according to the will of God. You're not doing the laws according to the desire or towards what God desires.
That's right.
We are doing our own laws.
What you
And when
like.
we do our own laws, it's not accepted.
Your interpretation.
God don't accept it the way you want to do it. This is why it's very important to read the book and do exactly what we read out of this book,
That's
so
it.
that our actions and the things that we do towards God will be accepted in the eyes of God.
It means what it says, and it says
That's
what
right,
it means.
Tom She.
That ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God.
That ye may keep the what?
The commandments of the Lord your God.
You know what's the word for keep? It says shama.
God.
Shama means to observe or to be on guard, so that you may be on guard. For
Protect
who?
your spirit.
For God.
Yourself. That's
On
right.
guard for who? On guard on yourself and on guard amongst others.
Oh,
So
you
we
couldn't-
have to be on point.
you couldn't
I
do it.
can't see things being violation being done
And
on
not
Shabbat
say
and not
nothing.
say nothing.
And not say
I
nothing.
can't go. What Abba used to say, why you go in your room and just go to sleep? Get your butt out here and
And
patrol.
watch, patrol.
Watch. Make sure they're not doing nothing, talking their words.
That's your
Make
job.
sure this is not going on here. Make sure this. How do you think Nehemiah spotted these dudes at the gate?
Because he looked at
Watch
himself
it,
as the
watch it out.
patrol, as the
Right.
guard.
Because he was on guard for who?
For God. He's the man in
So
charge.
this is there's a way. There's a way of keeping these laws, commandments, and statutes to be on guard or to observe. What does observe mean? It's very important that when we read the book, we look up the words so that we know what to do, what not to do.
God's
That's right.
perspective.
And so that we can learn what is God's perspective,
That's right.
not what I
What
think.
we think.
My perspective and your perspective doesn't count.
No.
What does observe means? To fulfill or comply.
Ooh.
To fulfill and comply to obligations. To conform one's actions and practices to God's actions, to God's practice.
Man.
Huh? You know what conform means? To agree.
Oh.
To agree with
Do.
what God agrees with.
Do
That's
first.
right.
But in order to agree, you're not going to just agree like that.
No.
You
Do
got to
it.
do it first.
Do it. You'll get
Because
it.
if you don't do it, then you don't agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes we
Right.
do and we don't agree and we
Yet.
don't accept it and we don't understand
Yet.
But in time
It's gonna
of
grow on
fulfilling
you.
these
It's gonna
laws,
grow on you.
Right.
it'll grow on
Become
you.
a part of you.
It becomes a part of you.
Performance of the
I
law.
said it becomes a part of you. This is why I feel weird not doing this.
Talk about it.
Out of place.
I feel out of place not doing this. And the longer you stay away from this, the longer your spirit becomes accustomed of being away.
Facts. That's
This is why people
100%.
are able to make trips. Where's the brother at? The brother is all the way in Mexico.
Vacation.
It's Shabbat. But he's in Mexico. I can't do that.
That's right. Talk about it. Brother.
I'm afraid to do that.
Say it again, brother.
I'm afraid to do that.
Oh.
Why? Because my father has raised me up one way,
Yeah.
and according to the way my father has raised me, I continue to walk in that path that my father has raised me in, so that my spirit can be accustomed to it. You will never get accustomed to this way of life if you keep going in and out with God.
Right.
These laws won't grow on you if you keep going in and out with God.
That's right.
It got to a point where let's read. Okay, hold up. Go ahead. Now to keep fulfilled to God means to watch by way of preventing. Which means I'm on guard and I'm watching
Stop it before it happens.
to stop it before it happens. I'm on guard watching to stop you from violating the laws of God before you do it.
Stop me from violence.
Huh?
Oh my God.
That's how heavy and deep this is, man. Let's read.
That ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you.
Uh-huh.
Verse 3.
Verse
Your
3.
eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baal Peor.
Your eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baal Peor. Baal means Lord, Peor. Root
The
word is
opening.
Pa'ad, means Lord of the opening.
Opening.
Lord of the woman's opening.
feminine's organ.
I said Lord of the woman's opening.
The
And
womb.
in serving this deity, oral sex is included.
That's right. That's
Oh,
a
This
ritual.
is why we don't do oral sex.
Ritualistic
Oh,
dedication.
That's right.
What you do in your bedroom is not your business.
No.
Oh, it's not mine?
I said, what you do in your bedroom is not your business. To serve the Lord of the opening, oral sex, anal sex, and orgies is done.
Idolatry.
To serve these deities. So we even got rules that go
Sexual
on.
rules.
Sexual rules.
This ain't no religion.
The reason for sex is to have children.
Procreation. That's right.
Sarah said, "Shall I
And my
husband have what?
Pleasure
Have pleasure
in being old.
being old."
Yeah,
So I'm only going to mention what I read.
that's right.
I'm not going to mention nothing that I don't read.
Yeah,
And this is the problem with the people today.
yeah.
Certain questions shouldn't be asked
That's
because the book already answers it.
Your line of questioning is corrupt. Your line of questioning is corrupt. Your questioning is corrupt.
So we question and we say and make statements about things that we should not be making statements about, like calling Eve a liar.
Are you kidding me?
Have you
That's
ever
your
read
mother.
in the book where God called Eve a liar? No.
That's your mother. Watch
The
your
first
mouth.
5 books was iterated from who?
Moses.
God.
From God to Moses.
Came
That's right.
out the mouth of
And
God.
told Moses what to write. That's God's word.
These are God's words.
That's right.
Let's read.
Yeah.
For all the men that followed Baal Peor,
For all the men that have followed Baal Peor.
the Lord.
What does it mean to follow?
Uh-oh.
How do you follow?
Uh-oh.
To follow means to go after. To follow means subsequent to. Subsequent to means to have the same views of. To have the same views of means you have a heathenistic mentality.
That's right.
You cannot serve God with a heathenistic mentality.
That's right.
We have to change our frame of thinking.
That's right.
This way of thinking, this American way of thinking,
That's
we
right.
have to change it because our thinking transfers over into our speech and actions.
That's right.
Okay, let's read.
For all the men that followed Baal Peor, the Lord thy God hath destroyed them from among you. Verse 4.
Verse 4.
But ye that did cleave unto the
But
Lord
ye
your
that
God,
did cleave unto who?
the Lord your God,
The word to cleave is dabak. It means to adhere to or to cling. Adhere means to believe.
Man.
For all that did believe in God, for all that did follow the practices of
You
God.
ain't gonna do it if you don't believe it.
Huh? But you're not going to do it if you don't believe
I
it.
believe it first.
So you have to believe first in order to fulfill.
Right.
Again,
I ain't gonna follow you. if
we
you don't
think
believe
it's a game.
Yeah.
There is steps and stages
That's right.
in fulfilling these laws, commandments, and statutes.
That's right.
We are not going to be whole and perfect with God because everything stems and begins with belief.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have to believe
Number
first.
one.
Yeah.
When you have 100% belief,
No
you ain't
proof.
gonna- you're not going to sin presumptuously.
That's right. No proof, but
Huh?
you believe it.
There's no proof, but you believe it.
You gonna do it.
You know who did that?
Don't need
Abraham.
That's right.
Need no
Abraham had blind allegiance with God.
Right.
His
proof.
love.
I said Abraham had blind allegiance with God. You didn't have to sit Abraham down and explain everything.
That's right. Why?
All
Why?
he had to know was that God said.
That's right. Now
And
why?
because he believed God, he hearkened to every word.
Yeah. Know why?
Every word.
Yeah.
Tom Sheik.
But ye that did cleave unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you this day. Verse 5.
Verse 5.
Behold, I have taught you statutes and
I have
judgments,
taught you statutes and judgments.
even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
Tom Sheik.
Keep therefore and do them,
Keep therefore and do them
for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
in the sight of the nations. This is my wisdom. This is my understanding in the sight of the people.
That's right.
This is what's going to separate you in the sight of the people. This is what's going to put a difference between you and them. Huh? Go ahead.
For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
That's right.
Verse 7.
Verse 7.
For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great, that has statutes and judgments so righteous, as all this law which I set before you this day?
There was no nation They had a God that was present like our God. God was so present among, he was so much amongst us that he said, listen, he said, when you gotta ease yourself, there's a spot I want you to go to.
Outside the camp.
Outside the camp.
It's holy.
He said, because God walk amongst you. And if I see
the uncleanness,
he said, I will, if I see that filth, he said, he's going to see the uncleanness in you.
And turn against you. Not deliver us. Yeah, right.
So this is why when you pray, you close the bathroom door.
There you go.
Because the bathroom door is where you go to relieve yourself.
That's right. The
bathroom is where you go to relieve yourself. So the bathroom door closes before I pray.
Take the garbage out.
The garbage gets separated.
Close the doors.
Okay? Go ahead.
Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently.
Only take, wait, where else you at?
Verse 9.
Uh-huh.
Only take
what?
heed to thyself.
Only take heed to thyself.
So very.
Huh? It means to be on guard on who?
Yourself.
I have to be on guard on me.
Watch yourself.
I have to watch me. Why I have to watch me? Because there are times where you will slip.
Yeah.
There are times when you will go off. So I have to be on guard on myself.
That's right.
Not being on guard on you.
Yes.
God said to correct you.
And get back on yourself.
And then get back on myself.
That's right.
Chastise you. Reprove you. And then jump back on myself.
That's right.
Why? Because
no time.
The book says thou.
Thou shalt. Thou shalt not.
Thou. You know what that means, man?
Okay.
I have to stop worried about how you treat me.
Yeah, point the finger.
I got to stop worrying about what you think about me.
Yeah.
And I have to continue.
How do I treat you?
To treat you or deal with you in a way that is accepted by God.
That's right.
Disregarding of how you moving with me.
Because we trying to be saints.
Disregarding that.
We're trying to be a saint.
Why? Because the law says thou.
That's right.
Tom Sheep.
Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen.
Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligent. Go ahead. Lest thou
forget the things which thine eyes have seen, unless they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life.
This is deep, man.
Oh my goodness.
You mean to tell me that I have to use my experience, my interactions that I had with God to keep me in the way?
So you don't go on.
To keep me from going off?
Don't forget.
Don't forget.
Remember.
Always remember what God did.
Hey, I don't care if you're tired of hearing the story.
That's right.
I heard it 100 times.
That's right.
And it's the first time. It's like the first time.
Unless they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons,
thy
son's sons.
And thy son's sons.
Verse 10. Especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb. When the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together.
Look, God said, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb.
Forget that.
That was a hell of a day, man.
No, a heaven of a day.
You know why I say that, man? You know that sight, you know that type of sight to see a whole mountain range,
skipping,
on
jumping,
fire,
on fire,
skipping,
dark
trumpet
cloud,
waxing louder and louder and louder.
Oh my goodness. Lightning, thunder. God voice.
Moses came down, said what he had to say. Next thing God said, Moses drew near to the thick darkness where God was.
God was in that darkness.
What?
That was the type.
Yeah.
That was a type of darkness that was from in the beginning of time. That type of darkness, light can't pierce.
Any man will fear to go in there, but not Moses.
That's how that type of darkness. Let's
That's
go.
right.
Especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb.
Uh-huh.
For the Lord said unto me, gather me the people
Gather me
together,
the people together,
and I will make them hear my
and
words,
I will make them hear my words,
that they may learn to fear
that
me.
they may learn to fear me.
When
This
you hear
is,
his voice
listen,
speaking out in
this
the
is
midst of the
something
fire.
that we have to learn to do. So God allowed the nation to hear his voice.
We had millions of
So
people.
that was supposed to have a positive effect on us.
You fear not. He
That
ain't
was
kill you.
supposed to convince us. That was supposed to cause the people to fear God.
Scared straight.
Notice when you go through certain things
No, when you go through the upright.
that involves God, the uprights, the upright, because you have people that have
Go through the
different
same
runnings,
thing.
and
And
they
don't
still don't
change.
fear, and they don't change.
That's right.
But an upright heart would change.
That's right.
That's what you need to change.
That's right.
You need an upright heart.
Conscientious. The
You need
obligation.
to have a conscience, because you can go through whatever you want to go through, or whatever God put you through and deliver you. But if you don't have an upright heart, you're not gonna change.
That's right.
It's not gonna make you better.
That's right.
God put us through trials and tribulations to strengthen us,
Have to bethink yourself.
to make us bethink ourselves and become better.
Come out better. That's right.
Some of us, it has an effect on us. Some of us, it don't have an effect on us. No, give me a paper towel. Time sheet.
And I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. Verse 11.
That they may learn to what? To
That
fear
they may
me
learn.
all the days that they shall live upon the earth,
And that
and
they may
that
teach.
they may teach their children. The children don't have opinions
Okay.
or choices
No.
Yeah.
until they become grown.
That's right. Parents guide.
Your child does not decide what they want to do under my roof.
That's right.
My child is going to do what I tell him to do or her to do
You don't know
under
no
my roof.
You don't have
There's nothing, will let him or her have a choice. And
No.
they're 13 and 14 and
No.
15 years old.
They don't
And
know
you're living
enough.
underneath my roof.
You don't know enough. You are the guidance.
Let's read.
Verse 11. And he came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burnt with fire into the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. Verse 12.
Let's
And the
read.
Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. Ye heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude. Only ye heard a
You
voice.
say you heard, but saw no similitude. You
see
see no image.
You see anything.
You didn't see nothing. Go ahead.
You heard the voice. And he declared unto you his covenant,
And he declared unto you his covenant,
which he commanded you to
which he
perform.
commanded you to perform.
Even 10 commandments.
Even 10
And
commandments.
he wrote them upon 2 tables of
Two
stone.
tables of stone.
The Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go over to possess it.
Possess it. Time sheet.
Take ye therefore good heed.
Take
unto
heed
yourselves,
therefore good heed unto yourselves,
for ye saw no manner of similitude.
for ye saw no manner of similitude. Huh? What is that word similitude? Huh? What does that word, what is it?
Tell us.
The word similitude is temuna.
Uh-oh.
Okay? Temuna means pictures,
Uh-oh.
images.
Uh-oh.
Photos did not exist.
Uh-oh.
Okay, hold up. The problem is that images did not exist for Old Testament Jews.
Uh-oh.
Paintings were very rare.
Who's Old Testament
Make it
Jews?
clear.
Who's
Who's
Old Testament?
Jews? Tell us.
Old Testament Jews.
Uh-huh.
That's
what
our
we read it.
forefathers.
That's what we read it.
The original Jews.
Sons of Jacob.
These are the sons of Jacob we talking about.
Okay.
I said paintings were very rare.
Mm-hmm.
Photos did not exist yet.
No.
Images came about with Christians
Okay.
at the end of the 2nd century.
Wow. Idolatry.
In the beginning of the 3rd century, the Old Testament speaks against images. Meanwhile, Christian art in the early church is due to important role images played in Greco-Roman culture.
That's still worship today.
Greco-Roman culture.
That's right.
That's where the images started from.
Romanized.
Tom sheet.
Yeah, I hear you.
Take heed therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire. Lest ye corrupt.
Lest ye, go ahead.
Lest ye corrupt yourselves.
Lest ye corrupt yourself. God is going to show us how we corrupt ourselves. See, we do things contrary from what we read, and we corrupt ourselves. We make it hard for ourselves, and we block ourselves, and we cut ourselves off so we can't advance with God.
That's right.
What do you mean by corrupt? The word corrupt is shakat. Shakat means to pervert, to mar, or to corrupt. Okay? And it is also the word for the pit.
Wow.
Okay? Corrupt is to change from good to bad in morals, manners, by all actions, by violating the commandments of God. When you're corrupt, you perform immoral or illegal acts, okay? To change or debase oneself by making errors against God's laws or unintentional alterations, which is when you have no intentions of changing oneself. To debase means to reduce in value, to reduce in character, to reduce in esteem.
Lower yourself.
We lower ourselves every time we go against the laws of God. Go ahead.
That's why we're not strong.
That's right.
Verse 16.
Verse 16.
Lest ye corrupt yourselves.
Now hold up. So let's go. Let me go through the rest of these words here. To pervert means to alter from its original course. To alter or to change from its original course, meaning or state, to a distortion. A distortion. You know what distortion means? It means to mislead. To mislead of what was first intended. To cause to turn aside from what God said is good. To mar means to ruin or diminish the good or wholeness of a person by violating God's law. Okay? So now, that was what, 16?
Yeah.
Lest you corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image. Okay? Now, graven image no, we good. Good. A graven image, right? It says fesel. It means idol or image. A false god. Likeness of something, a form or appearance, visible without substance. Visible without substance. Without substance means life. So now, graven image also refers to cult image. A cult image is a human-made object that is worshipped for the deity or spirit that it embodies or represents. Which reminds me of teraphims, which is small images or cult objects used as domestic household gods.
That's right.
Domesticated household gods. This is why we're playing with our lives, having these images in our houses.
Yes, get rid of them. Like Jacob.
We got to get rid of these images.
Right.
Okay? The similitude of what?
Of any figure.
Of any figure. The similitude, the temuna, a picture of any figure. The word for any figure, it means kal samel. Kal samel of all emblems. It means emblems and it means likenesses or images.
What's the emblem, brother?
The 6-point star is an emblem.
All right, give us some more.
Okay? The cross is an emblem.
Nike.
Nikes are emblems.
Do your research.
Okay? Now, Fesel, the root word is fasal. To make like, to be like, similar. Okay? Tamshi.
Wow.
The likeness of male or female.
The likeness of male or female, read.
Verse 17.
Verse 17.
The likeness of any beast that is on the earth. The likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air. The likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground. The likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Verse 19. Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, and the moon, and the stars, even all the host of heaven, shouldst be driven to worship them.
Shouldst be driven to worship them. All religion stems from astrology.
Right.
All religion stems from sun and moon worship. The word driven is nadak. It means in all that are impelled or seduced. Impelled means to drive, to force, to urge someone to do something into action. Now, what do you mean drive, force, urge? There's nobody physical forcing you. This happens in the spirit. You're forced and urged from your mind, from the spirit, from within to worship these things that God done commanded us to stay away from. To seduce means to persuade someone to do something that they would not usually consider doing by making it difficult to refuse. The game, the example for that is when the serpent beguiled Eve.
That's right. He ran the game on her. She didn't know better.
That's when the serpent beguiled Eve. Eve ain't know better. Eve was innocent.
That's right.
She didn't know game.
That's right, Noah.
She didn't know tricks.
That's right.
She didn't know nothing about schemes. The serpent went to her because he knew he was able to beguile her.
That's right.
He knew he couldn't penetrate Adam.
Right.
So let me go to his wife.
Yes.
And to get to Adam, I got to get through her. So your wives has to be on point as well as the husband.
You think you don't know you?
I remember my father used to tell my mother, he said, you my wife.
That's right.
He said, so you also got to be on point because if he can't get me, he going to go through you.
He going to get to me through you.
Through you. And that's what my pop told my mom. And that's how we operate.
That's the key.
That's how we operate.
That's the key right there.
Tom C. It's lest thou be driven to what?
Driven to worship
them. Worship them. Wait a minute. The word for worship is tish takawe. Tish takawe means to worship. Another form of worship is admiration. Worship is an extreme form of love. It's a type of unquestioning devotion, which means you don't question God.
You don't question that thing you fall in love with.
Exactly. Exactly. Tamshi.
And worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God had divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. Verse 20. But the Lord had taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt.
Even out of Egypt.
To be unto him a
people of inheritance.
As ye are this day.
As ye are this day.
Furthermore,
the
Lord was angry with
God
me.
Was angry with me
for your sakes.
Because of you. Now, let's dig into that word. He said, God was angry with me for your sakes. When I looked up the Hebrew word for your sakes, it says dabar. God was angry with me for your words. God was angry with me concerning your speech, concerning your actions. So don't tell me God ain't gonna he gonna get angry at the things that you say out your mouth. Don't tell me that God won't get angry for the words that you say out your mouth. This is why we have to watch our words. Watch the things that we say out of our mouth, because we say things and we talk and we run our mouth, not considering and being on point with ourselves, what we saying. And guess what? Well, I ain't doing nothing. I'm doing this. I'm wearing my frontlet. I wore it, but you forgot yesterday you said something that you shouldn't have said.
Okay.
Yesterday, you said something that you shouldn't have voiced.
Wow.
Now, because you voiced it, now God done pushed you away. Disregarding your garments, disregarding your frontlet and bracelet, disregarding how much Shabbat you keeping, because you said something out your mouth.
I flushed that down the toilet. When I said
See,
that.
this is why God said we got to follow God holy. Because if I'm covering this, and this, but I'm not covering that, God push you away.
It don't count.
It don't count.
Flush it
He's
down.
not going to say, well, you're doing this and this,
It covered.
and that covers what you
No.
did there.
No.
No, that's not how God moves.
No.
So we have to
They gotta go
cover
together.
360.
Right.
So that, because when we're not covering 360, we leave an opening. We leave a breach. And that breach remains open until you decide to close it. Why do you think God turned to Cain and told Cain what he told him? That was the key, man. He said, he told him to improve. He said, why are you wroth? What you angry about? Why is thy countenance fallen? Huh? He said, if you do good, he said, I will accept you. I will exalt you. But we can't think we're doing good, but we're leaving out. We're skipping over. We're skipping.
You got to cover 360.
We got to cover everything, man. And when you're covering everything, you must be on point with yourself.
Watch yourself.
You got to be on point with yourself. You got to be circumspect.
And God.
Tom She.
Verse 21.
21.
Furthermore, the Lord was angry with me for your sakes.
For your sakes.
And swear that I should not go over Jordan.
Uh-huh.
And that I should not go in unto the land, good land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
Moses was hurt.
Oh, yeah. He got a heart for God.
Moses was hurt, man.
He got a heart for God, man.
Moses was hurt.
Yeah.
And he kept begging God. If you didn't read that in that whole situation and you can't feel that,
Yeah.
there's something wrong with
That's
you.
right.
You really ain't got a heart.
That's right.
He kept begging God over and over, and God looked at him and said, hey, basically, he said, you're not going.
Right.
Don't ask me about this no more.
This is final.
That's right.
It's final.
After that, he said, listen, man, I'm going to call you up when it's time to come up to this mountain.
Your job.
And I'm going to show you the land.
Yeah.
But you're not going in there.
No, you completed your mission.
You're not going in there, man,
That's right.
because of what you did
What he said.
at the waters of Meribah.
You're not separated.
All because of what he said.
Out his mouth.
Wait a minute.
A word.
A word
A word.
is
One
what?
word.
One word is what caused
We.
God
We.
to set and push him again.
We.
We got, listen, man.
We.
We taking this thing here for a joke. We gotta watch our words, because we will cut ourselves off just by what you say out your mouth.
Fact.
You will bring death to yourself just by what you say out of your mouth. But we think it's a game.
Yeah.
We're dealing with the same God, man. We're not dealing with a different God. We're not dealing with a God that changed. God is the same. He said, and I change it not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob, I didn't consume you. That's the only reason why I didn't consume you. Because I'm a God that don't change, man. The same God in these days is the same God now.
That's right.
I move the same way. Let's read.
But I must die in this
He
land.
said, but I must die in this land.
I must not go over Jordan.
I ain't going over
But
Jordan.
ye shall go over.
Y'all gonna
and
go
possess
over.
that good land.
Uh-huh.
Take heed unto yourselves.
Realize something. that everybody's judgment is different.
Yeah.
Depending on your status with God would depend on your judgment.
Right.
God, your status is up there. Your judgment is harder.
Sharp and speedy.
Harder, sharper,
Right.
and much more, and it comes quicker
Yeah.
than a person that's not in the same status like you with God.
Right. It's further away.
Swift and speedy judgment.
Come
Right.
see.
Take heed unto yourselves, lest
Take
ye
heed
forget
to
the
yourself,
covenant
lest you
of the
forget
Lord
the
your
covenant
God,
of the Lord your God,
which he made with you,
uh-huh,
and make you a graven image.
and make you a graven image. That's plain English.
That's right.
You know what a graven image is?
One addition.
How many Israelites walk around with staffs
Yeah.
with engraved images,
Graving and
That's right. Little statues,
with lion heads
Seraphim.
and different?
jewelry.
But we want to do the law our way.
Yeah.
That's
And then we
the
tell
power.
God, oh, I can have this.
Yeah.
And we add on our own words and say, well, we can have it. God is talking about not worshiping it.
Like you the judge.
Like you the judge.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And make you a graven image or the
Uh-huh.
likeness of anything
Likeness of
which the
anything.
Lord thy God hath forbidden thee.
That's right, read.
For the Lord thy God is a consuming fire,
For the Lord thy God is a consuming fire.
even a jealous God.
Even a jealous God.
Ooh.
Jealous God, he's intolerant of unfaithfulness.
He won't tolerate it.
He's not going to tolerate unfaithfulness. Go ahead.
When thou shalt beget children
Uh-huh.
and children's children,
Uh-huh.
and shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves,
Uh-huh.
and make a graven image, or the
Uh-huh.
likeness of anything,
Uh-huh.
and shall do evil in the sight of the Lord thy God, to provoke
To
him to anger.
provoke him to anger. How do we provoke God to anger? Deliberately make God angry by committing presumptuous iniquities. Presumptuous iniquities is what provokes God.
It's an insult.
Okay? It's like we're insulting him. Insult.
That's right.
Reproaching him.
You're offended.
You are offending him
That's right. To his face.
to his face. Go ahead.
Verse 26. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day,
Uh-huh.
that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto you go over Jordan to possess it.
Uh-huh.
You shall not prolong your days upon it,
Uh-huh.
but you shall utterly be destroyed. Verse 27.
Tom sheet.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations. And ye
Wait a
shall-
minute. Who you think did the scattering, man?
Yeah.
That's the way.
Who you think scattered us all over the place?
Most High.
Who you think put us through all this slavery and transporting and disbursements? And God did that.
Forgetting who we are.
So we can't blame nobody but ourselves. We
Right.
put ourselves in this predicament.
That's right.
We
None about our father.
Okay?
We delivered
We did this ourselves. We did this
That's
to ourselves.
That's right.
Don't hate and put the blame on the white man.
Okay.
Oh, the white man this and the white man the other. No, you caused this on yourself. So God turned these people against you. Okay? He stirred them up and riled them up against us. Go ahead, read.
And ye shall be left few in number
Few in
among the
number
heathen,
amongst the heathen, read.
whither the Lord shall lead you.
Uh-huh.
And there ye shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell.
Am I here serving gods of wood and stone?
No.
Nope.
No. So listen,
Uh-oh.
most of these curses are not on us.
Okay.
That's right.
Because those was one of the curses.
That's right.
One of
So,
them.
serve God
So
and
now-
don't see perish.
I don't look at myself as cursed.
Okay.
That's right.
No, I am gotta be in that bracket
That's right.
of being cursed.
That's right.
God has gave us a way to pull ourselves out of that bracket
It's up to us.
by giving us these laws, commandments, and statutes
It's up to
to
us.
deliver ourselves. So now God left it up to you to
Right.
deliver you.
Yeah. Be cursed because you want to be cursed.
Okay?
You could be blessed.
Tom C.
But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God,
Uh-huh.
thou shalt find him.
Thou shalt find them.
If thou shalt
If you seek them, you're gonna find them.
him.
That's right.
I say, if you seek him and you truly want to know who God is, you will find him.
Yes, you will. That's for the seed of Israel. That was prophecy.
That's right.
That's for the seed of Jacob.
Tom, see what verse we at?
This ain't no accident.
29.
Mhm.
But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him. If thou seek him with all thy
With
heart
all your heart.
and with all thy
And
soul.
with all your soul.
Verse 30.
Tom,
When thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord thy God, and shalt be obedient unto his voice.
obedient to his voice.
For the Lord thy God is a merciful God.
He said, for the Lord thy God is a merciful God. Merciful. This is one of the characteristics of God. To have mercy.
Yeah, you want to be godly?
So you want to be godly? You got to be mercy.
Okay.
Have mercy.
Okay.
What does mercy mean? Rakum means mercy, compassionate.
Okay.
So mercy is when you bring someone relief from something unpleasant.
Yeah.
When you bring someone relief from something unpleasant. So when a person is going through it, you don't continue to add on.
Bring them relief.
You gotta learn. We gotta learn to bring people. We haven't learned that yet.
Relief.
Correct. That is correct.
So we haven't learned that yet. Huh? Compassionate is treatment of those in distress, especially when it is within one's power to punish or harm.
Especially
When it's in your power to punish or harm,
when you choose not to.
but you chose not to.
You could if you wanted
I
to.
could if I
Your
wanted to,
power.
but I chose not to.
Oh my God.
Why? Because
That's God.
I'm trying to be like God.
That's like God.
God said to be holy. He said, but I, the Lord your God, am holy. Go ahead, read.
The Lord thy God is a merciful God. He will not forsake thee.
He will not forsake thee. Rapha. The word Rapha, it means disheartened or to cast off. I will not cast off or discourage. To cast off or to discourage. Tamshi.
He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto them. Verse 32.
Verse 32.
For ask now.
He will not forsake thee. He will not abandon thee. He will not renounce thee. Tamshi.
For ask now of the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day that God created man upon
Now,
earth.
you know what's the word for cast off and disheartening? That was one of the definitions for Rapha. To cast off means you're no longer wanted. I will not reject you. Okay? Disheartening means to causing someone to lose determination, discouraging or dispiriting. Which means I won't cause you
to not be interested.
To be not interested in the things that we should be interested in. I'm not gonna break you. Tom Shields, we gonna build you.
Well, ask now the days that are past, which were before thee. Since the day that God created man upon earth. And ask from
ask now what?
Of the days that are past.
Days that are past.
Which were before thee.
Which was before you.
Since the day that God created man upon earth.
Since the day that God created Adam and Eve. From the beginning of times. Read.
And ask from the one side of heaven unto the other, whether there had been any such thing as this great thing, or had been heard like it. Verse 33. Did ever people hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as thou hast heard and lived?
Nope. Let's cut that. Let's go to Proverbs 13.
That never happened like that.
Proverbs chapter 13. Got it?
Proverbs chapter 13.
Tamshi.
A wise son heareth his father's instruction.
A wise son heareth what? His father's instructions.
Okay. What's the word for here?
I said a wise son heareth his father's instructions. The word for instructions is musad.
Correction.
Huh? Musad means reproof, correction, reprimand, chastisement. Okay? So it also means ethics. Okay? Reproof means what? Criticism for a fault. When you criticize, you consider the merits and the demerits of. All right? What is the merits? You the good. Demerits are the faults. Right? The good or the faults of, right? And judge the matter righteously.
Be fair.
But wait a minute, man. Are we hearing this, man? I said to reproof. Reproof means to criticize for a fault. We criticize the fault.
Right.
I cannot agree with you when you're wrong.
Right.
I gotta disregard that with family. Right. Family and friends and brothers and sisters don't count when we're dealing with God.
Right.
So when you're wrong, I gotta tell you you're wrong. I don't care if you want to get angry with me. So now, when you criticize, you consider the good and the bad of what the person did and judge the matter righteously. Huh? Why we can't do that? Why you want me to side with you and you're wrong?
Yeah.
And when I don't side with you, you get angry. And you get tight.
Yeah, you gotta make a mind.
Huh? If I'm wrong, I don't want nobody siding with me. If I'm wrong, I don't have a problem with nobody telling me I'm wrong.
Than myself.
Because I'm going to stand back.
That's right.
You feel I was wrong?
Yeah.
And if you tell me I was wrong, I'm going to fall back and consider the fact and rewind and say, well, you know what? I may be wrong.
That's right.
Let me slow down and humble myself.
I could be wrong.
It's nothing wrong with me being wrong.
I could be wrong too.
It's nothing wrong with me being at fault.
Right.
You know when it's wrong?
Yeah.
When you can't consider and acknowledge that you was wrong. Because when you can't consider and acknowledge that you was wrong, then you can't improve.
There's no reconciliation.
There's no reconciliation.
No improvement.
You can't improve with God. This is why it's very important to acknowledge that you are wrong so that you can take heed and improve. So you can make repairs and become better.
That's right.
This is why God told Cain what he told him.
The key of life.
The key to life. The key to everlasting life. He said, Cain, why are you wroth? This is not, basically, God told him, this is nothing to be angry about.
Why your face looking like that?
I said, God told him, you're not, basically telling him,
you ain't supposed to be
you
angry.
ain't supposed to
You
be
the one
angry.
that did wrong.
Why are we angry if we the one at fault?
Come on.
You see how people is. The book teaches us how we should be and how we shouldn't be. Man, niggas be wrong. I said niggas be wrong. It's two left shoes. And then they the ones more angry and more tight. But they wrong. Ain't that something, man? I say, ain't that something, man? You're sick, man. You gotta be sick. Reprimand is a formal reproof. Huh? Ethics are moral principles that governs a person's behavior, pattern of thought, or the conducting of activities. That's what ethics is. Moral principles that governs a person's behavior.
Right. You still the definition of Musar.
That's right.
Instruction.
Or the conducting of activity. Or a person's pattern of thought. How you think. A set of moral principles and values. You know what it takes? Self-discipline to follow that. You need self-discipline to follow these things. Because if you can't discipline yourself, you can't serve God.
That's right.
You need self-discipline to serve God.
That's right. That's right.
A man with more self-discipline can serve God and will be.
Right.
Obedience is better.
Come on, man.
That's right. That's right.
Come on, man. It will keep you in the way,
That's
man.
right. And that's
Self-discipline is what keep
That's
you
right.
in that path.
That's right. That's right.
Tom sheet. It said what? But a scorner
But a
what?
scorner heareth not rebuke.
A scorner don't hear rebuke.
What?
What is a scorner? The word for scorner is lex. It means a buffoon. When I looked up buffoon, and it also means a jester.
Mm-hmm.
A jester is a person that taunts jokingly.
Yeah.
I said a jester is a person that will taunt you jokingly and make a joke out of it.
Like it's funny to make someone to taunt somebody.
But it's not funny.
No.
See, this is why even in joking, you shouldn't say certain things.
You ain't that funny that you can't make a joke.
I said
out of
even
it
in
somebody.
joking, you shouldn't say certain things.
That's right.
Because you said, no, I was just joking, but that's not
Right.
something to joke
That
about.
wasn't
Right.
funny.
That's not something to say.
That's right.
A buffoon is a ridiculous, amusing person.
Wow. Always joking.
Ridiculous.
A fool. That's what Solomon said.
That's it. Let's read.
Wow, how much you laugh?
Verse 2.
Times
A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth.
A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth. He worked for it. You damn right he gonna eat good. You damn right he gonna eat good. He worked for it.
That's right.
Go ahead.
A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressors shall eat violence.
Wait a minute. But the soul of the transgressor shall eat violence. The word for transgressor is bagad. Bagad. You know what comes from the word bagad? Beged.
Uh-oh.
That's why in Malachi it says your beged will cover your what?
God.
Your treacherous.
That's right. Your
The
betrayal.
treachery that you have in you.
When you
The
betray
garment
God.
covers it. Okay? So now, treacherous.
That's it.
You know what treacherous is? Guilty of betrayal.
Betrayal. Yeah,
To
treason.
betray means to fail or desert
Treason.
or deception
Right.
in time or need.
Neglected.
Wow.
Left alone.
This is why you can tell if a person is treacherous by the way they deal with their parents.
Well,
You can tell if a person is treacherous by the way they deal with their parents. That's why it's very important to come around.
Yeah.
Because maybe, ain't no maybe, as the parents get older, they need more.
My brother said, oh, he's not
He
here.
needs more help.
They're going to need help.
More eyes, more hands.
They're going to need
legs.
more eyes,
Oh, he's
more
not here.
hands, more hands on.
More than that.
To desert means to abandon a person or a cause in a way considered disloyal.
What's your cause? What is your cause?
Okay? Time sheet.
Wow.
Where we at? Verse 3?
Verse 3.
Time sheet.
He that keepeth his mouth, keepeth his life.
He that keepeth his mouth, keepeth his life. I said, he that keepeth his mouth, you keep your life, which means you got to watch what you say.
Know when not to speak.
Know when not to speak and when to speak.
That's right.
Sometimes what you got to say, you're right, but ain't the right time to say it.
come on.
It's not the right time to say it. Sometimes I need to keep my mouth shut and stop talking so much.
Come on.
See, we put ourselves in the line of fire because we run our mouth over and over. We won't shut up. We won't shut up. Tom sheet.
But the soul of the transgressor shall eat violence. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life. But he that openeth wide his lips
Shall have destruction. Tom sheet.
The soul of the sluggard desire it.
The soul
And
of the
have
sluggard, the soul of the lazy, he wants. he desires and had nothing. But the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. What is that word diligent? The word for diligent is karuzim. Karuzim, it means diligent. Diligent, when you look it up, it means determined. The soul of the determined. The sharp. Person with a made up mind. A person determined hears, understands, or react to things quick. You don't take your time. That's the diligent. You don't take your time in fulfilling the laws and the commandments of God. You're not diligent.
Right.
When we take our time and put time in between and say, well, we can wait.
Yeah, I ain't ready.
I ain't ready for that yet.
You
ain't diligent.
I ain't get to that yet.
I said, you ain't diligent. Tom C.
A righteous man hateth lying.
Wait a minute. A righteous man hated lying. You know what the word in the Hebrew says? Dibar shekwed yishna zadik. A righteous man hated a lying matter. A righteous man hated lying words or a lying matter.
Lies, things that are lies.
That's right. Tom C.
But a wicked man is loathsome.
A wicked man is loathsome. When I looked up the word for loathsome, it says ba'ash. Loathsome means foul, right?
Wow.
A wicked man is foul. So when I looked up the word foul, it means offensive to the senses. Let's pause. What does offensive to the senses mean? Offensive to the senses is a person. Offensive to the senses is extremely unpleasant, repellent. You know what repellent means? You push people away.
Yeah. Yes.
You drive and you push people away by how you act and how you move.
You push righteousness away.
Or you push righteousness away, right? Repulsive. You know what a repulsive person is?
Hateful.
To stir up. To stir up. To start. To stir up. You started it by what you said. Now you started it by what you said. Now you angry at this person for what you started it. Let's read.
But a wicked man is loathsome and cometh to shame. Verse 6. Righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way.
Righteousness keepeth him that is upright. What?
In the way.
In the way. The word upright is tam. He said righteousness keep him that is perfect, that is whole, that is complete, that is wholehearted. Okay, go ahead.
But wickedness overthroweth the sinner.
Wickedness overthroweth the sinner.
Throw him off the path.
The word for overthrow it is select. It means wickedness perverts what? Perverts the sinner. It causes you to be crooked. It corrupts you. Tom shoot.
Verse 7.
Verse 7.
There is that maketh himself rich.
There is that maketh himself rich.
Yet hath nothing.
Yet got nothing. You ain't got nothing. You talking and moving like you got, but you ain't got nothing. Go ahead.
There is that maketh himself poor, yet have great riches.
Yet have great riches.
The ransom of a man's life are his riches.
The ransom, Go ahead.
But the poor hear it not
The
rebuked.
poor hear it not rebuke. Read.
The light of the righteous rejoiceth, but the lamp of the wicked shall be put out. Verse 10.
Verse 10.
Only by pride cometh contention.
Only by pride
Cometh contention.
cometh strife.
That's right. That's the word.
Only by pride
That's the word.
cometh by strife. Cometh by petty quarrel.
Oh, man.
Pride is the cause of
Of
strife.
pettiness.
That's right. That's right.
I said
Wow.
pride
Wow.
is the cause of strife.
Wow.
That's deep.
Wow.
You know why I said pride is the cause of strife? That's deep, man.
That's deep.
The book teaches you if you have pride,
What will
you
come?
gotta be truthful with yourself. I said, the book will tell you if you're wicked. But you got to be truthful with yourself. The book will tell you if you're righteous.
Right.
But you got to be
You gotta
truthful
be honest.
with yourself. You got to be
Right.
honest with yourself
That's
so
right.
that you can detect the ulcer and remove it.
Wow.
So that you can detect the cancer and remove it. How do you remove it? By taking heed to every word in this book. Go ahead.
But what with the well advised is wisdom.
What is the well-advised person? A well-advised person acts in wisdom. A well-advised person moves in wisdom. A well-advised person takes heed to wise counsel. A well-advised person takes heed to proper deliberation. Proper deliberation is the act of thinking. The act of thinking about or discussing something and deciding carefully so that I don't violate God with my decisions. I said, so I don't violate God with the decision that I made that wasn't right. Let's read.
Verse 11.
Verse 11.
Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished.
Shall be diminished.
But he that gathereth by labor shall increase.
He that gathereth by labor, you're going to increase. Come see.
Hope deferred maketh the heart sick.
Ooh, hope deferred. Hope deferred.
Hoping for something.
Hope is your what? Is your
Desire.
expectation.
That's right.
What you expect.
That's right. Your desire.
What does deferred mean? Deferred means delayed.
Yeah.
When you put off something for later. Hope deferred. What?
Make it the heart sick.
Make the heart sick.
Wishing for something ain't happening.
Wishing for something that ain't happening.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life.
Then you're happy as hell.
That's right.
You happy. You so happy because it finally came through what you was expecting. That's right. Read.
Whoso despiseth the word shall be destroyed.
Whoso despiseth the word of God shall be destroyed. Shall be destroyed. Wait a minute. You know what's the Hebrew word for destroyed? Baz ledabad yekabel law. You know what that means? Shall go through pain.
Wow.
Suffering. Pain and suffering. Whoso despise the word of God is going to suffer. Whoso despise the word of God is going to go through pain. Come on, man. Come on, man.
It ain't got to be in this life.
Okay. Okay. Come see.
But he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded. Verse
But
14.
he that what?
But he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded.
Shall be rewarded. You know what's the word for rewarded? Shulam or shalem. He that what?
He that feareth
the commandment
shall be rewarded.
Shall be complete. Shall be whole. Shall be at peace. Shall be safe. I say, wait a minute, man. Say he that what? Feareth. Yo, man.
The commandment.
He that feareth the commandments.
Shall be.
Because the only way we gonna hearken to God, you gotta be afraid to offend God. That's the fear that God is looking for. We gotta be afraid to offend God. Why? Because I know something's happening. Something's gonna happen for me only if you believe.
You believe that.
You gotta believe that so that you can refrain. But the reason why we don't refrain is because we don't believe. So we don't
fear God.
We don't fear God. That's right. Tom sheet, verse 14.
The law of the wise is a fountain of life.
It's a fountain of life.
To depart from the snares of death.
To depart from the snares of death, that you will escape the snares of death. Tom sheet.
Good understanding giveth favor.
Good understanding giveth favor. Good understanding. Understanding is depart from evil. It gives favor. To give favor means to do a kindness, a helpful act for a person. So that's what departing from evil does.
Right.
It causes God to do favor, to do something kind or helpful for you. This is what caused God to help you and come out of this place for you.
Right.
Go ahead.
But the way of transgressors is hard.
But the way
Of
transgressors is hard. The Hebrew word for hard is a time. Aleph Yod Tau Nun. And it means perennial. Perennial is lasting or existing for a longer time. You getting this?
You can't just throw it aside like
Huh? It said, but the way of the transgressors is hard. The way of the transgressors is perennial, lasting or existing for a long time, right? Transgressions don't change for the better. They remain the same. They remain the same and get worse.
defining factor right there.
That's it.
Transgressor. That's who you see.
That's who the transgressors is. You don't change. You remain the same and want God to accept you the way you is.
A wise man change often.
That's right. Tom Shee.
Verse 16. Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge.
Every prudent man deal it with knowledge. The prudent man is one that governs and disciplines oneself. Huh? The prudent man only speaks on what you know, experienced in, or studied. Not off of speculation, not off of your mind, intuition. All those things could be wrong. Because you don't want to be heard. Tom Shee.
But a fool layeth open his folly.
Tom Shee.
Verse 17. A wicked messenger.
Falleth into mischief. Read.
But a faithful ambassador is health.
A faithful ambassador is reliable. A faithful ambassador is reliable. Their work is valuable and of great benefit to others. Which means the things that I do don't only benefit me. You're not selfish. I'm going to make sure that the things that I do and how I move, it don't only benefit me, but it benefit you. Why? Because the godly is not all about themselves. It's not all about themselves, Tom Shee.
Poverty and shame shall be to him.
We are in Proverbs
18.
Proverbs 8.
13.
Proverbs
18.
chapter 13, verse 18.
Poverty and shame shall
be to him that refuse instructions. Huh? What is instructions? Torah. Torah is instructions, commandments, laws, statutes, judgments. Go ahead.
But he that regardeth reproof shall be honored.
The
desire accomplished is sweet to the soul. But it is abomination to fools to depart from evil. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise. But a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Evil pursueth sinners.
Evil pursueth sinners, and sinners pursue evil. It goes hand in hand. They chase each other. Okay, go ahead.
But to the righteous, good shall be repaid. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children.
A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children. Huh?
And the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just.
The book teaches you the ways of a good man.
What a good man.
What a good man does. Huh? We have to learn to stop calling men and women good unless the book says that person is good. You have to be able to analyze a person good and compare it to what God said is good.
Facts.
Now I'm able to say you're a good man.
That's right.
Now I'm able to say this woman is a good woman because you fit the requirements that God said.
That's right. Not because I think so.
Not because I think so.
Right.
Not because you think so.
I have a feeling.
What do God think?
That's right.
Tom Sheet.
And the wealth of a sinner is laid up for the just.
Tom Sheet.
Verse 23.
Uh-huh.
Much food is in the tillage of the poor,
Uh-huh.
but there is that is destroyed for want of judgment.
Tom Sheet.
He that spared his rod hated his son.
He that spirit is rod, you hate your son.
I never.
Why?
I never corrected.
Because the only way that child is going to learn is from correction.
That's right.
The children, the book teaches us how to have good children.
That's right.
You have good children by correcting them, not allowing them to walk in a way that they choose.
Right.
That's not right.
That's right. They don't know better.
They don't know
They
better.
don't get to that.
It's your job to train them in the way that God accepts.
That's right. That's why
The training, the discipline.
We gotta know. We gotta study.
Tom Sheet.
But he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes.
Times.
Verse 25. The righteous eat it to the satisfying of his soul,
Uh-huh.
but the belly of the wicked shall want.
And with that, I hope I already got what was bought.
Definitely.
And then we'll say Shabbat Shalom. And we will continue Shabbat teachings tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Shabbat Shalom. Do anybody have any questions before I cut off? Anybody have any questions? Any questions?
Chat.
Leave it on for a couple minutes for someone to ask questions. Under the crown.
Talk to me.
What's the question?
Underneath the crown.
No, not underneath the crown. Under the crown.
Underneath the crown. The crown.
Do you have a new member in the crowd?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a
The
new member in
loud,
the
the
crowd,
loud one.
and his name is Prince Akaria.
Zachariah is in town.
You might have heard him getting hyped through the whole teaching. Please forgive me.
With that, I already got what was bought, and we will continue this tomorrow at 10:30. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. See how it goes, huh?
Yes, yes.